Okay, so this is the MBA Meetup with Dr. Yager. That is me, all right? And I'm with my adorable MBA students, and also this is also an MBA class, right? That we have moved from classroom into our online environment. And today we are talking about something that is very interesting. And actually, everybody, I've unmuted everybody. So anybody in this call, all my MBA students, and I may call on you to introduce yourself as we talk about social media and about the job search. So yesterday, which I have not published the YouTube, I posted onto YouTube and I have not published to everybody. We talk a lot about LinkedIn, right? Ashley was in the session. Ashley, do you want to share what you think? What we have learned yesterday or what we have discussed about yesterday, because we are learning from each other.
Sure. Yesterday we talked about social media. I believe that social media can have for the marketing, like marketing strategy. So we told about LinkedIn more professional than Instagram and Facebook. But many largest companies started to use LinkedIn, for example, and they are start to find to employer for the easily apply or something. We can connect easily.
Yeah. One of the things that yes, actually, LinkedIn is interesting because we talk about like posting, creating a page in LinkedIn, and joining the groups, and it requires some effort. But if you do not if you want to start like with the minimum or with the most effective strategy, is to make sure that your profile is updated, right? In the LinkedIn, right? And about why the person with the noise, can you mute yourself, all right? Unless you want to talk, all right? Okay. And anybody, Pastor, I'm going to mute you. I think it's your mic. Yeah. Okay, mute you, all right? But you can unmute yourself, okay, later. Okay. So one of the reasons why we are doing the social media for job search and for professional is because we want to create an online identity. All right. That's the main reason why we are doing an online identity, to define ourselves, to earn the trust, and also to earn the how to say the trust to come on online communication, right? With people, sometimes with a lot of people that you hardly know, right? But it's to create that identity that people, when they see you, they trust you, they want to do business with you, and they want to hire you, all right? And LinkedIn is one of the most effective tool to create a professional image, right? We talk about that. Now, there are a few others social media too, like such as Facebook and Instagram. They are very effective in terms of also creating brand messages, but is effective in terms of like marketing purpose. All right. So any comments, or you can unmute yourself if you want. Any comments about?
Yes, I have one. Dwayne have one.
Okay, Dwayne.
Do you have to have a LinkedIn profile? Is it mandatory?
It's not mandatory, but is what I encourage all of you strongly to create a LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Yeah, because in the business world, we are all business people here, right? In this video, so I'm talking about a very specific need. It's the professional image you want to project. And the keyword is identity, and the second keyword is trust. All right.
Okay.
So when you create that identity, and really highly encourage everybody to create and clean up your LinkedIn profile, because in your LinkedIn profile, you actually can, we talked about that yesterday, and I just want to repeat a few things because today there are some information today that I can go over and in your CA3, and some of you I have not in the CA3 yet, but we can do there's some instructional material that you can use to craft out that message, right? But basically, the message in your LinkedIn profile, right? That's the first step you do. You can do one of the three things or more, all right? The first thing you can do, like just to say, tell people about your professional credentials. Oh, I'm doing an MBA in MCNY. I have a bachelor degree. I have a master's degree. I work in ABC company. I work in, like all the credential, professional credential. That's the easiest to do, right? Everybody can do that, right? It's like a short bio. Yeah. Now that bio is actually very useful because later on, that is actually your elevator pitch to everybody in the whole world, right? You know what I mean? Oh, who are you, right? Can you tell me a bit about yourself, right? When you go for a job interview, right? Okay, when you face with that question, that profile is actually can be your little pitch, right? To go for your the elevator pitch, so to say, for your job interview for that ever pressurizing question. Who are you? What? Tell me a bit about yourself, right? You know what I mean? So you can use your LinkedIn profile and start talking about what you do. And that is the simplest thing. All right. Any question about that?
And Professor Yager, this is Bruce.
Yeah.
Just to add to that, I think here it's good to have a LinkedIn profile, but in the same vein, not just having the profile alone, you have to stay engaged as well.
Yeah.
In terms of like having posting the articles, like you can like do 1 or 2 articles. If you can write, you can still share articles from other people who wrote stuff on LinkedIn, sharing stuff with similar interests, that stuff you want to pursue or jobs that you're trying to look for. So you try to have articles like share on your page. So prospective employers, if they see your interest, they'll be like, oh yeah, this is a potential candidate because he has or she has interest in XYZ. So stuff like that also will help.
Right. So this is the second point that we talk about in your profile, right? If just now, Bruce, thank you so much. You just described very clearly. You can describe about your interests. People want to know that you're a real person, right? Like if they feel that, oh, you really like fighting for some social causes, or you like dogs and you're volunteering for, I'm just giving like crazy examples here, right? Okay. Like, and the person who is hiring you, they look at your social profile. And I just want to make sure that all of you here, you all should know by now, all your social profile will be checked by your future employers. All right. Okay. Yeah. So if if you love dogs, actually, this may be not a very good example that I'm saying because I don't have any dogs here. But let's suppose if I love dogs and I start posting about how much I love dogs and why I care for dogs and what are the time I volunteer to do, to care for dogs activities, right? That's when, right? That future employers will say that, oh, that resonates with me, or that shows that this person has this sort of interest, contribute the his or her time, right, for a cause, right? Now I have to pick up my phone right now, so I'm going to pause. Interruption, all right. I'm going to pause my. Now, just now we talked a bit about the two. I want to make sure that I'm recording this. Um, we talk about two areas that are very important. One is about writing like a professional profile, right? Okay, that is the safest, right? And in fact, if you just want to use LinkedIn to look for a job, that will be the one of the safest way to do, right? Make sure that you write down all your credential, right? Even your constructive action, if you don't have any experience in some of those jobs that you want to look for, write down your constructive actions, as a kind of work experience, which is true. It's a very practical, hands-on experience that you have gathered. Another way, again, I repeat, right, is to show who you are, your passion, right, about some of the causes that you want to fight for, right, and that is a very authentic, very real message about you, your brand, right. Now the third thing, area is to really just focus on a big accomplishment, that you're very proud about, and you want to showcase yourself with that accomplishment. So let's say you have maybe created a product, or you have created some services, or you have successfully managed a department. I think that at this point, like there are many heroes right out with us. And let me just close the door because there's some noise. Just give me 1 second. And I'm coming back. So like, for example, if you have, how to say, if you did some projects that you want people to know about, that profile page in LinkedIn is all about that project, all right? Okay, so these are just 3 ideas, right, about LinkedIn profile, okay? Yeah. Now, any suggestion or comments about the profile?
No.
No, right? Okay. Now, for the CA3 students, right, if you go to your Moodle, right, you will see actually, actually I can also send this documents, right, to everybody that we talk about this, right, is to craft your branding message, a worksheets, right? And you can, so some of the thing is like, start by identify your 3 most important strengths and weaknesses, and, and there are different very opinion about what you want to share as your strengths and weaknesses, right? Okay. Now, what I'm going to say may be controversial, all right? Okay, but I'm advising all my students, if anybody asks you if you have any weaknesses, you say, no, I do not have any weaknesses for this job that I'm interviewing for. Okay. All right, okay. Now, some people do not agree with me, but I'm encouraging, yes.
What do you mean by witnesses? What meaning,
Yeah,
like?
yeah, weakness, strengths.
Oh,
yeah,
weaknesses.
right, yeah, weakness, yeah. So if someone in a job,
Okay.
again, this context is in a job interview, all right? I'm not talking about, yeah. If someone, when you're interviewing, right, and someone asks you, what are your weakness? You say, no, I don't have any weakness for this job. I can absolutely do this job. All right, so this is my recommendation. You have to think about this, right? Because some people say, oh no, you have to talk about like, oh, how much I want to improve, right? How much I can improve. But no, I don't agree with that. Okay, I am recommending all the MBA students to say, no, for this job, I don't have any weakness. I can do the job, right? Okay. Now, any comments about that? Any comments?
Because some people, they say that you can't just have strength, you should have your weaknesses. So some people, they say that at least you have to say something.
Right.
You can't just say that you are perfect. No, you can't be.
So that's why I'm saying something controversial here, because some people say that, oh, you must say something, like you must say your weakness, right? But for me, I don't think that when you go for a job, you know that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense, okay. Because if you want a job, you don't have any weaknesses.
You don't.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna hire you if you don't know how to do anything.
And so I mean, so some people.
Should I tell them I know how to walk in the moon? And how to march in the wind?
You mean the moonwalk by Michael Jackson?
It makes sense, the point.
Yeah, and I think what you can say is that how you can talk about things that you want to do further improvement, right? By talking about some of the things that you're reading or you're taking some courses, you're doing your MBA for crying out loud, right? Okay, so I mean, and if someone keep on pressing, say that, what are your weakness? What are your weakness? All right. I don't think that that job is really for you. All right. Again, this is recorded, and I know that it's very controversial, right? Because some people think that you have to say your weakness. They say no. For this job, I don't have any weakness. I'm ready to do it. Of course, you don't say like, I'm actually like, exaggerating, right? But you say it in your style, right? Okay. Yeah.
Doing job interviews, that's when you find the best liars because they lie.
Yep. Some people lie on
I
lying.
have I have a coworker currently who interviewed for the job he currently has. He was like, because we have like the call center next to us, we do like analysis of books and records of banks and insurance companies. So because he's at the entry level, he's a trainee right now. So he was asked during the interview. I was in on the interview. We were interviewing him, and he was asked, how do you cope in terms of noise? Like, do you concentrate? Do you focus even though there's noise around you because you have the call center that's going to be next to you? Yeah, oh yeah, I'm great at that. Like I multitask. I don't when I'm on my job, I focus on that. And guess what? He got the job, but now when he's at work, like he's always saying he's distracted. Like the people distracting him. He said, "Oh, I reminded him. I was about to remember doing an interview. You said you cope well with noise like around you. You still focus. So why are you distracted now?" So people lie during interviews. They bring their best lies on the table.
Right.
And
Right.
those are the ones who get the job.
Right.
If
Right.
you don't lie, you don't get.
Some people lie on resumes too, and then when
Right.
you ask them about it, that's when they get stuck. That's how you know. Okay, they
Yeah,
really.
you lie.
That's how you know they really didn't do
You
what they
forget.
said.
It's a lie. You forget.
Right.
So I talk a bit about a few things you can do in your resume to show that you're capable of doing something, right? So just now Jane asked a good question. What if you don't have the experience, right? So I have a good example. It's about this lady. It's a true story, right? She is now working in Goldman Sachs with the investors as an investment banker, and she has no financial background credential. She was working in the golf club as a manager, right? And when she went for interview, and she said that she basically saying that how successful she is with customer relations, all right? And customer relationship is actually very important in investment banking, and she has shown like transferable skills, right? That's where you are using your resume and you talk about the problem you're solving, the action you have taken, and the results, all right? Okay, the PAR, right? Problem, action, results, right? And the results is the thing that is key, right? And and I know that this video that I start talking, I did have a PAR video, right? I think I did it last Thursday. By the way, everybody, if you are tapping onto this video, this is totally unrehearsed, right? But the PAR, the results, right? Remember, right? Is what do people like to see? Money, right? Money. Everybody likes money. Time. Okay, time. Oh, you save me time. Oh, you deliver the service on time. You deliver service like just today I got Amazon delivery, right? It's 2 days ahead of the scheduled time. Oh, wonderful Amazon, right? You know what I mean, right? Okay, time, right? Percentage. People like to see percentage, right? Okay, so dollar sign, right? Time, okay, percentage, right? So if you are able to show that the project has earned X amount of dollar or saved X amount of dollar, or reduce, you know, delays by certain percentage, increase performance by certain percentage, X percentage, right? People like to see that, all right? Now, similarly, those are the things that you can put in your LinkedIn profile, all right? Now, I don't want to keep on talking about LinkedIn profile because you can also put that in your Instagram or your Facebook, all right?
Oh.
Now, right. And the Facebook is a bit different. And actually, yesterday we had a good conversation on that. Facebook, if as an individual, is more like uh, friendly. You know, like it's more casual, right? Same thing like Instagram. It gives you that feeling more casual. But a lot of companies are using that and to create another image, right? That they are approachable, right? And again, don't underestimate Facebook and Instagram message, right? Okay. Now, for your job search, it's very important that LinkedIn should be the primary focus. All right. I just want to make sure that you should hear that. All right. But don't forget about your Facebook and your Instagram profiles as well. All right. So you should know that when you go for interviews, right, people are likely to have checked your social media profiles, right? What you have talked about in Facebook and what you have talked about in Instagram, right? Correct, right? So you want to make sure that when you say something, right, this is going to be like permanent, right, in the social media, right? Okay. Now, I just want to share with you guys something funny. So I'm not someone who likes to be angry in social media. I'm not someone like this, right? You know what I mean? And I don't like express anger or something like that. But today I saw a video that is so nasty towards Americans, all right? And it's in our midst of our coronavirus, and I was so upset with that, right? And I expressed myself, right? But again, I expressed myself very strongly, but I stated my opinion, all right? Now, you must know that when you do that, right, your personal opinion, this will come back to you, right? Okay, and you need to stand up for what you say, right? But unless you are saying something that you just do not care about how, because in your social media, it's like walking down the street, right? I always say this, like, you know, do you walk down the street naked? No, right? If you don't walk down the street naked, you don't post naked, right? You know what I mean? I'm saying this like a funny illustration, like, any comments about that? Janelle is taking notes. I don't know whether, are you taking notes? No, you're muted, Janelle. I can't hear you. I mute you. Wait.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got my book.
Wow, you're taking notes. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so we are talking about social media, right? You know what I mean? Social media, I think that a lot of times we really like post so many things that we enjoy doing, and sometimes funny and things like that. You should do that. Don't feel constrained, right? But bear in mind again, that is going to be your identity, your image. You know, people, employer is going to check up everything, right? Now, I'm not telling you to freeze and be robotic and to lie, right? But you need to know that would be checked. All right, correct. All right, everybody knows that, right? Okay, yeah. Any comments so far?
No.
No. Okay. Now it's 7 o'clock already. All right. I'm going to go through a few things here in front of me, which is actually, y'all can see my screen, right? Huh?
Yeah.
So one of the thing in the checklist, right, is to add a sentence that connect your strength, right? And you can use that again. This is very similar to writing your resume. And again, take a specific example or a project, like, or something you're passionate about, something you have done and put it in. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, and again, you need to look into your LinkedIn profile, if you have a Facebook profile, how you're going to show your Facebook profile, because you have friends also connecting to you, not just potential employers, right?
So my question, can I ask?
Yes, of course, Jane.
Yeah, like on Facebook, because when you're looking for a job, they check your social, whatever you have. So do you have to unfriend some of your friends, or
No, it's
what
not
do
about
you
the
do?
friends.
Or should you have two pages, two Facebook pages?
No, it's not about who you have friends. It's gonna be about like the stuff that you post. So you have to be
Okay.
careful about what you post. You can't be like, oh, I wish I could burn this place down, because then they're gonna be like, oh, she likes to start fires. And
Yeah,
so you can't be like, oh, I hate this one, I hate that one, because then
yeah.
they look at you kind of
And then I
funny.
have to start judging everybody.
Right. So
Right.
you have to be, so when jobs look at profiles, you have to be careful about what you post, because whatever you post, that's what they're gonna look at. Just know, like, even if you think you deleted it, it's always gonna be
Yeah, he's always going to be online to posting.
Yeah. So like today I posted like my first ever angry post, right? Because I was like, I want to take out my boxing glove and box that guy, right? Who wrote, nasty things about Americans, right? And then and it's very political, right? The viewpoint, right? But I feel like boxing the guy, right? And I stated very strongly what I think, but still, right? It's a strong statement, right? And I'm willing to stand by why I say that. It's not vulgar, there's no profanity, right? I understand what I'm saying here, right? Now you can be yourself, right? Like for example, in LinkedIn, right? Absolutely, you have to be professional, right? It's just like you go to different place, you go to certain restaurant, you can dress down, and certain restaurants you have to dress up, right? I'm using that as an illustration so that you can see what I mean, right? So if you go to a restaurant that is very formal dress, and then you just go in with bikini, I'm just stupid example, right? I'm giving a stark contrast here, right? You know what I mean? So you need to understand whatever you say, like it's in the context, right? Like you go, and again, sometimes I say this, right? And people like, it's meant to like show the point. Like you don't walk down the street naked and you don't post naked, in social media. That's it. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't it's okay if you are showing beach pictures, right? In the Facebook, because Facebook is supposed to be with friends, you know what I mean? Like, right? Unless you have a professional like company page, right? Then you can be serious there, right? There's nothing wrong to post something of leisure or something fun, right? You know what I mean? Ashley and I, sometimes Ashley come to my company parties and we post some pictures. Ashley take very good pictures. Yeah, Ashley, right? And so you can take some pictures, right? So like the same events, right? When I post to LinkedIn and when I post, and I'm not saying that the way I'm doing it is the best way. I'm just illustrating the point, all right?
Yeah.
For the same events, right? When I post to LinkedIn, I talk about why I'm doing the events. What is the technology and the business that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But when I post to Facebook, I comment, oh, how cute, Ashley and I look. How cute. You understand what I'm saying here, right? How cute, right? There's a lot of, like cute, funny emoji, right? And different contexts, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you need to know how to balance that and to be smart to judge that, right? Like to judge like your environment, right? And how you're going to present yourself. Any question about that? Or comments?
Yeah, I just saw Maritza Samuel came on.
Oh, hey, hi. Yeah. Okay, thank you for joining us. We're talking about social media and how to do branding, right? How to how to use social media for your job search, right? And we are actually talking about more. Let me I can unmute everybody. You know, everybody can, if you choose to show your video or speak up, just don't hesitate to break in. All right, okay. Um, so now we talk
Yes, I have
about
I have something to say about the resume. It has
yes.
to be when you're because it got me recently. I've been sending out resume with 2019 on it. And I looked it over and I was like, oh, you know what, S. And then I had to change that. So you have to look it over real carefully.
So when you say 2019,
Was my cover letter, my cover letter.
oh, cover letter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because I was using an old cover letter.
I see. Mm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the dates, right? Yeah. Mm.
Now, when you do a resume, do you need a cover letter or no? Just the resume.
Some of them
So
ask.
They
Oh,
ask
it
for
depends. Yeah, the employer.
yeah. So cover letter is also like a teaser, right? Correct, right?
Right,
You're actually providing, like saying, explain why you're interested in that job. Correct? Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Now I want to say something about this. All right. Recently, I've interviewed. Together, I was the faculty search committee. I'm chairing that. All right. And it's very interesting to see so many different candidates and this search in particular, I see like a wide variety of candidates because I've done like very high end, like the VP level search, the president search, and now we're doing faculty search. Some faculty came in, right? And we are asking them, what do you know about, like, how do you think that you can apply to purpose-centered education? All right. Okay. Okay. 90%, right? Blank, right?
Tough
Doesn't know how
question.
to answer, doesn't know how to answer that question.
Yeah.
And some of my colleagues, my faculty colleagues, right? They who I say that I will be scared if I interviewed by you because they were asking really esoteric terms, right? Constructive action and all those things, right? Now, is it fair? I must tell you, absolutely fair to ask all these esoteric questions, right? So if you want to work with a company, right, you have to do research, right? Now, why I go about about way, you can in your cover letter say that, oh, I read about from your website the interesting pedagogy you have, purpose-centered education, and now I want to, I'm very passionate about your type of pedagogy. I want to contribute to it, right? Correct? That will stand you out, right? Yeah.
So Yager,
Um,
sorry for interrupting. Just to add to that, I think HR or employers, they have to reinvent their employment strategies or in terms of attracting talents, because a lot of time we have employers that they lose out on great candidates and they end up hiring like the worst candidates. At the end of the day, they don't
that's
really
true.
get the output that
Mm,
they desire. Because say for instance, like if someone goes to an interview, they can put out like their best game. They can bring their A game and have a great cover letter, great resume to bring their A game at an interview. But showing up at the job itself in the practical sense, they won't produce like you want them to produce. So I
right.
think like employers and the HR representatives, they have to reinvent their hiring strategies, how to go about getting the right talents for the job. Because a lot of the time, majority of the time, we end up hiring like the losers, people who really don't care about the job.
Mm.
You lose out on great talents.
So
Absolutely, yeah. So there must be some process. Actually, Jane, what do you think? You just presented. Jane actually did some like the HR. Jane, you want to comment on that? Any
uh,
comments? Hmm?
okay, so what we are talking. Me, what I put on the HR was like when you hire people, you have to train them.
Mm-hmm.
Some things I can't remember because it's another class.
It's okay.
Remember, it's another.
Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Yeah, you put me on the spot here. You know?
Love that. Okay, now, I think Bruce brought up a good point, and some of the very, may I say, the class A type of organization, right? They have very systematic interview process, right? Where they grill you, right? And to peel the the skin of the onion, so to say, to see what the call is about. I guess that in a way, right, there are three elements, right, that we need to really know what the hiring process is. Can you do the job?
Yeah.
Right? Can you do the job? Okay. Will you do the job?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Are you a good fit? Right, with us? Right. So these are the three type of questions, right? That you should center the HR, right? The whole hiring process about, right? The worst case scenario is that you hire someone and this person is disrupting the whole organization. Have you met someone like this in your organization? Like they are very disruptive, right? I have met a few people like that, right? But
Yeah.
I also have met very wonderful people, right? You know what I mean? That, and I think that the process really need to, yeah, I agree with Bruce. Yeah, anybody wants to chime in about the hiring process? Okay. There's some very famous hiring process by a few companies, right? That are like the case, methods, right? So there are, I don't want to talk about it because I'm not an expert in it, but it's like there are a lot of like companies have like very unique method to test you out. But the key is that if you can talk about problem that you solve, the action that you have taken, the results, right? So you have to go back to that formula, right? Okay. So everybody wants milk. This is a stupid example. But you can offer chocolate milk, vanilla milk, strawberry milk, right? Okay, as long as you can tell them in the chocolate milk what is your formula, in the vanilla and the strawberry what are your formula, and you satisfy the milk. Sorry, it's a stupid example, but I just came up with that example. I don't know why. Maybe it's a lockdown. I like milk. I've been thinking about milk all day long. Sorry. Okay. Bruce, what do you think? Do you think that I know it's a discussion, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's a good point. But I also like have a question I want to ask you in the same regard. As it relates to us, like say we MBA students are prospective business owners. So what advice like will you give us in terms of if we like have the worst hires, we hire people like who not doing the job. We were put under the impression that they could do the job. But after hiring them, we realized that they are not good fit for the position. So what advice would you give us, like as prospective business owners, if we have to experience such a scenario?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can say
Okay,
something.
Jane. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me try to say something. That's why when you are hiring them, you have to have the company policy. Yeah, you have to tell them what you expect from them. And then when they don't meet that, you have to give them the first warning. Don't just act out of emotion, like maybe, okay, I'm so upset he did this, I'll do that. You can't do that. First, you have to call them. You have to document every step all the way. Until when it comes to laying off that person, or when it comes to firing that person, there should be concrete reasons. You can't just fire them just like that, even if they are not a good fit, because you hired them. But they have to follow every rule that you give them, something like that. I don't know.
So
Maybe you can explain better.
yeah, no, Jane, thank you so much. I really appreciate your answer. So Jane is talking about a very corporate policy, right? That you really, when you're hiring someone, you also have the termination policy, right? Uh, Policy actually, all of you know me. This is recorded, but sometimes I say I look at policy and I was thinking like, wow, why should we spend so much time in writing policy? But policy is important because it actually brings people the understanding, the expectation, right? The performance expectation. So if you have hiring policy and you have termination policy, people know that they have to follow that rule in order to stay in a job, right? To perform. What is the performance standards? Right? So it's not too bad like what Jane has explained, right? The hiring and the termination and also development policy, all right? Okay, now, coming back to another scenario, right? Bruce is talking about more of a startup environment, right? You know what I mean? Where you really do not really have a lot of, how to say, spare cash to, like if you hire the wrong person, it's really a terrible thing because you need to, it's a startup environment, so you need to perform. So there's a few ways that I think that you need to really look into, right? First is that you do need to be candidly and also truthfully, right? Talk about this performance issue, right, with the new hire, right? So the worst thing is that everybody is in denial and someone are afraid of saying out loud because they are scared of confrontation, they're scared of conflict. But in a situation like that, if there are performance issue and it's bringing down the corporate performance, the first area that you first responsibility that you owe to yourself, or in your case, Bruce, right? You are the owner, right, of the organization.
Right.
You are responsible to communicate that, right? You cannot hide behind and, oh, I'm scared of. I'm not saying that you are like that. I'm just giving an example, right? I'm scared of like facing this person. I dare not tell this person that. Yeah.
Professor Yager, sorry for cutting you off. Sometimes like managers like tend to be like afraid not to venture into issue what people perceive as micromanagement, because sometimes when you try to like bring people, you try to call them to certain things, you try to bring certain things to their attention, they'll think that, oh, you're trying to micromanage, and managers like tend to avoid that because that also leads to underproduction, stuff like that.
Mm.
So how do you navigate that?
Okay. Okay. First, I apologize. I have to mute myself for one second. All right, I'm still continuing. My husband is calling me. I'm just going to answer him and come back. All right, just 1 minute. Sorry.
Okay, like I can say something. Like I work in healthcare. Sometimes when they have people like that, what they do, when you do something, they write you up. So they will tell you like, if they write you up for the third time, then they fire you. So many people, they don't like that. So no matter how bad they can be, they try to do good so that they don't get written up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but other organizations, I wouldn't know.
Right.
Yeah. Jane is alluding to is how difficult it is sometimes to fire someone because especially in large corporations, right? Because there may be repercussion of litigation, right? I mean, there are people who can come back and say, oh, it's unfair, but usually it's not that difficult to fire someone for performance issue, right? So, and we should not be so worried about being fired, right? Or whatever. But you need to know that this is just part of the, how to say, the game, so to say, in the work life, right? So how are you going to make sure in a corporation settings, right? Knowing the policy. So that is important, all right? Okay. Now coming back to Bruce, your scenario, you're talking is a more of a startup environment. And you just talk about something very interesting about micromanagement, right? Again, right? Micromanagement, actually, it's interesting. I never go and find out the formal definition like micromanagement, right? But micromanagement is like, for example, if you have a manager, right, who is not performing, right, and you can provide some guidelines about your expectations, right? So if you tell someone, right, that you want a project, right, or some part of the projects to be completed by certain time, right? Um, and if you tell the manager, right, that your expectation about the timing, about the output, about what you want to see as results, right? That is not micromanagement, right? Okay, micromanagement is only when you start telling you say that, oh, you need to do today, you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. That became, right? That becomes micromanagement, right? Does that make sense? Right, Bruce?
It does, yeah. Makes
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
yeah. So the thing is that you need to say like, why are you not satisfied with this manager, right? Okay, and you can go back is remember that our plan of action that we do in CA, the chart, right? The plan of action, goals, objective, right? Strategies, and then what? Metrics. Anybody wants to help me? Correct? Huh? Everybody remember the plan of action? All right. Okay. I hope you all have finished your CA report, by the way. It's the end of the semester. All right. Okay. Goals, objectives, strategies, metrics. What is metrics about? It's measurements, right? Yeah. So if you're good in management, you're holding people accountable for the metrics that they should be producing. All right. And you should mentor or help, right? Or to guide this person to a direction that they can perform in that metrics, right? And that is not micromanagement, all right? And the best thing is that you can allow your employee, your manager to come out with the goals, the objectives, the strategies, right? And then the metrics, right? Okay. Am I making sense here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's 7:24 now, all right? We talk about social media, and I didn't show even my Facebook or whatever, but yesterday I did talk about LinkedIn, which I'm going to post. Why don't we do this? Everybody is in the lockdown mode now, right? 6 p.m. I think is a good time to meet up, right? I encourage everybody who is in this call here, right? If 6 p.m. you have no one else more exciting than me to go to, then come and join. Okay, and no pressure. I'm just kidding. All right, okay. But I'm just saying is that why don't we use this time, right, to clean up our resume? I'm cleaning up my social media. I have to promote a lot of things, including our MBA program, right? So why don't we encourage each other? Maybe if you want to showcase some of the things that you are doing in your LinkedIn, what you want to say, what you want to write, no pressure to show, right? But just to show, just to be together and use this period, right, to think about like where we want to go, right, in terms of career, right, in terms of how we want to grow, right? Do you think it's a good suggestion? Everybody with me?
Yeah, it's good.
Huh? It's good. Okay. All right. Now,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna stop in a few minutes, right? In 2 minutes, right? So why don't we do this tomorrow? I'm still going to talk about social media, right? With the soft skills, right? About MBA, right? Join me at 6 p.m. Same Zoom URL, right? Okay. Now I have a very hungry husband behind me shouting for his dinner. I'm now more working more than ever before the lockdown because my husband always asks for his dinner. So now I have to go and help my husband for his dinner. And I wish you guys all a pleasant dinner. All right. Who is cooking tonight?
I'm
Anybody is
cooking
cooking?
right now.
Okay. So maybe one day we share what we are cooking at home and
Yeah.
things like that. Okay. Yeah. So if and seriously, if anybody is how to say, any issues or any concern, right? I know Bruce is already starting a riot. I know that. Okay, y'all can join Bruce for the riot. and then just come, please let me know. All right, and no pressure to come at this 6 p.m. but I'm really happy to see all your faces. All right, so good night. Okay, good evening and good night, and I see you tomorrow. All right,
You guys enjoy it.
Good night.
Right.
okay, bye-bye.
Hey, Bruce, are we meeting up online tonight with Professor Janis?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be on. I'm about to log in right now.
Okay. You didn't
Okay,
send
see
a
you
LinkedIn.
guys.
Is the same old LinkedIn page?
Yeah, I will send that link to you. If
Okay.
you don't have it.
All right, thanks. All right, you guys enjoy.
All right, have a
Okay,
good one.
bye.
Good night.